all right there. Nice one on a spattering of PayPal donations coming this week. Cheers. I'm sort of a bit restricted in terms of volume here, and because I've restricted myself in terms of volume, I feel a bit physically restricted as well. It's odd. He says as his stupid hat brushes the mic. Usually when I make a video, I'm usually confident about the subject matter. You know, obviously I'm actually leaning on my elbows. This is quite nice, quite intimate. Shall I move that down a little bit? Like that. Yeah, look at that. All right. I'm usually quite confident. If it's a story about myself, I've either told it before in a stand-up or a social setting of some sort, or I just know it because I've done it. But I just watched a video about a couple of blokes, reformed prisoners, reformed drug addicts, and they go into schools and do all that good work. And I started thinking about drug education, and I'm really unsure about it. You know, you'd think perhaps it was something that I had a fix on. Poor choice of words. You know, you might think it's something I could inject some goodness into. But I really don't know. It's a tricky one. You know, the idea of reformed prisoners, reformed junkies, whatever, going into schools, telling their stories. You know, and people have said it to me. People in the comments of the Crack Diaries are like, this should be, you know, required viewing for all 13-year-olds. And a very good friend of mine said, you know, that story told in schools would be, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I've always just sort of thought, yeah, maybe later, you know, when I'm a bit older, that's something I'll think of. But watching this chat between these two blokes, and I am not for a moment concerned that these people have got anything but the good of the students at heart. You know, they're doing something they think is going to help people, save lives, keep people out of prison, etc., etc. I'm convinced their intentions are good. And, you know, my drug education at schools was, you know, it's less significant than the sex education we had. I can remember the sex education. So we're about 13. Some of the boys have already got beards, and they wear gold jewellery, and they go out on the piss at night and drive cars around with adult females in them. I didn't even have any pubic hair. I was like, hello, little boy. And so this weird group of kids who, apart from their date of birth, are completely different levels of development. And all he said, that it was a PE teacher, Mr. Tomlinson, and he was a bit northern, and he went, this is your... And you could tell he was shitting himself. He wasn't blagging it at all. And they'd obviously lumbered it on the physical education teachers, PE, because they're physical education. You know, you don't give that sort of thing to a maths teacher. But because they're PE teachers, they're also thick as shit to a man. You know, some of them had to have other jobs, but, you know, you could tell their speciality was in, throw the bloody ball, boy, it's not going to hurt you. Don't tickle it, Dangerfield. While I'm standing there about 3 centimetres tall while this fucking monster, fully developed man's just running. Poof. Yeah, can we play that again? Fucking rugby. What a horrible thing to make little boys do against massive men. Same age, but just massive, just real men. Child abuse. Anyway, he's gone, right, so this is your... And he was trying to dress it up in all the sort of... what do you call it? All the... fuck. What's the word? Holy moly, am I going to have to cut this bit out? He was trying to dress it up in all the... all the sort of officialdom that surrounded what was sex education. So he was like, right, okay, this is for Year 6, S107. Yeah, it was like, cut to the chase, say sex. And then obviously at the end of this, second module of the fourth instalment of required according to national guidelines, sex education. And we're all like, there's kids in that room have been fucking. And it's only boys, by the way. And it weren't an all boys school, but obviously PE, they separated us. Can't have, even though there were girls bigger and stronger than me at that age, that's how they should have done it. They should have organised it by weight and body mass. Get all those lesbians out there. I should have been playing with the other little girls. So yeah, I mean, I've told the story before, but there was this bloke called Brett, and he was so advanced. You know, red jumper, school uniform. You had to have a red jumper, and you'd go from Nan made it, no, lower than that, lost property. So if you just didn't have one because your family were too poor, they'd just give you one at the lost property, just a not fitting, smelling, slightly off-coloured. Slightly not the right red sort of thing. Not lost at all. Someone abandoned it because everyone's taking the piss out of them. But that ended up in fucking Brian Aikenhead or one of his brothers who hadn't eaten for 10 years. So you've got lost property. Then your Nan made it, which is in many ways worse than lost property. You know, that's slightly too big a nit. And everyone's like, his Nan made it. And that's it. Your name's Nan's Maid for the next 2 years. Oh, Nan's Maid. Give us those sweets or I'll knock you out. So this Brett, he had a Pierre Cardin red jumper. Oh no, he had it nice blazer, few sovereigns, bit of aftershave that was his own. Bit of, you know, those weird woven slip-ons that were quite popular in '85. And he was banging this bird, and I remember every day hearing stories about it and thinking, I am so out of my depth here. I just want to get back to playing Elite. Quick, there's a Thargoid invasion mark. We need to buy some alien items from Gujuvavu. And there was kids sort of going, well, the thing was, I was fucking her, and that, like, I'm thinking I'm going to come in a minute, know what I mean? I'm still swigging my beer while I'm banging her. And I'm sort of really affecting me negatively. Stressing the fuck out of me. Anyway, one history lesson. We've all walked in. Revolving chalkboard. Blackboard. Come on, we know what it's called. And he's pulled it down to get the previous lesson's nonsense off the board. And someone had written, Brett done Debbie up the dirt box. Now, as naive and sexually absent as I was, apart from obviously wanking myself silly at any and every opportunity, including friends' houses, bathrooms, school bathrooms, just learn to wank and stop when you're about 50. That's what I'm working out. Anyway, I knew what a dirt box was, so I knew that, and even if Brett hadn't done Debbie up the dirt box, the fact that was even a rumour was just... Anyway... Brett's in that group. There's other real life shaggers in that group. But then right down to the sort of autistic kids and kids like me who are just sort of wanking all the time. And right, so sex education. Right, first thing. No penis is too small. For what? Yes, it is. What about if it has to be... What about if you have to be able to hold it in 2 hands? 1 inch is too small. Anyway, I'm picking holes in what's already farcical. No penis is too small. So everyone in this room can make a baby. Next thing was, that was it. And then he went, has anyone got any questions about their penis or balls? Sex education. Has anyone got any questions about their penis or balls? No one says anything. And then this bloke, Amaric, his nose was sort of stuck. He had like surplus or excess or additional skin sort of there. And it always had too much snot. Any snot is too much, but you'd forgive him a little bit for having that on the go. But a bit snotty. And he went, Sometimes I get aroused climbing. That's meant to be Bangladeshi, Bengali. Is that the same place? What's the trip over that? Sometimes I get aroused. No, sometimes I get a hard on climbing up ropes. Which we all do. We all did. Whoops. Still at it. I made a video about the old rope-gasm, but the teacher was just like, yeah, you know, sometimes you're going to get aroused. Right, should we go play rugby and then get out on the pitch and actually live out his real sexual fantasy, huddling together, prop forward, hooker, steady. So the drugs education was much the same. I think we had a copper, and he just had a laminated bit of paper with some photographs of some drugs on it. Passed it round. Drugs are illegal. Yeah, it's, you know what? Even improvising what he may have said is going to do it more justice, because the memory is absent. And, you know, I've got a pretty good memory for these things, as, you know, you've seen me tell stories of my childhood plenty of times. Didn't really occur. So my point being, is these reformed characters going into prison working? Can it work? Because here's where I get a problem. I believe in the full legalisation of all narcotics, all drugs, legalise the lot. And, you know, they regulate them. You know, I sometimes think that the glamour, actually not the glamour, because people are quite aware that having to grab shit out your ass and, you know, trying to find drugs up there or getting banged up isn't glamorous. I think that's almost a bit of a red herring to say that it's glamorous. But the drama, that there's something going on. And when you've got blokes telling you that, who've done 10 years in a Thai prison or fucking stabbed 30 people, dealt drugs, was earning tens of thousands when he was 19, done a few years, come out, now he's got a cushy life going around schools, got his website, releasing his books, got his YouTube channel, few quid, few revenue streams, doing all right, entertaining bloke. The children like him, he's got jokes, he's got stories, he's relaxed, he's been there, it's rehearsed. He was in a gang, he'd done this, he was in prison, he was a junkie, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And now he's all right. Got through it, survived it, made a career out of it. Made a career out of madness. And, you know, why do, you know, us people, we read books about crime. We read books about junkies. We watch films. What's that film done very well? Requiem for a Dream. It's a nightmare from start to finish, really, but we like it. It's exciting. It's dramatic. It's not getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, commuting into London, sitting in an office for 8 hours, going home and doing the same again, rinse and repeat. Now you're dead. It's not what your mum and dad are doing in their drab, repetitive, miserable lives. In the absence of a community, in the absence of an actual education in life, I'm not sure that's necessarily putting anyone off. Quite the opposite, perhaps. I'm not sure where I stand with it. I'm not sure. I don't think the area to target is education at this point. I think if you change reality, the kids will educate themselves. If you have to go to a little horrible dull as fuck dispensary at the end of the road to get your little government stamped pack of smack and a few needles, give a piss test, sign your name, same again every day, that's it. It's not Train Spotting, is it? It's not the Velvet Underground. It's not William Burroughs. It's like getting your inhaler. You know, the drugs war has absolutely mythologized drugs and drug taking. You know, sex, drugs and rock and roll, you know, it's a cliche for a reason. Pop rock music, the last sort of, certainly from, you know, from jazz. Jazz is heroin music, everyone knows it. Sounds like smack. Fuck me, you know, they're all junkies, a lot of them. Hashtag not all, maybe. I don't know. Even Billie Holiday, nightmare life she had. That geezer, I think it's Harry Anslinger, who invented the fucking drug war to persecute minorities. Chased Billie Holiday around, ruined her life, wouldn't let her sing because she was a junkie. Well, not really, it's actually because she was black, but he used that as a crowbar to smash her It's a tears on that story. But, you know, just illegality takes drugs and takes crime. You know, how popular is Goodfellas, the movie? How popular is The Godfather? How popular are crime? You know, people love it because it's not what they're doing. And when kids in suffering, neglectful communities with very little real parenting, when they look at their future, it's looking fucking bleak. There's not much going on. You know, there's whole communities in England where they're like now 3 generations out of work. And a spattering of alcoholism and drug addiction. Those old coal mining towns, fuck me, you want to see what happens? It's almost like an experiment. They just put loads of people out of work and threw a lump of smack in there. It hasn't turned out well. But people see outside illegality, drama. They see outside what's going to happen. They look at other people getting jobs in McDonald's, leave school, working as shop assistant for fuck all, staying at home with your mum and dad, watch a bit of telly, go to bed, wake up, same again. Wait till Friday, go out, drink 9 pints of lager, smash someone over the head, go home, and repeat. And crime, and certainly more so drugs, it's out of that world. It's nothing to do with you, mum. Nothing to do with you, school. In fact, school, you hate this shit. These drugs I'm getting into stand for, they stand opposed to everything you've told me, and what you've told me in a patronising, frequently bullying, condescending manner. You've done that to me for nearly 15 years of my life. And tonight I'm going to do this. And it's just like that to you and everything you stand for. First bifter, bit of Jimi Hendrix. Ow, 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 ow. Voodoo Child. All right. So what do? Do you educate? How do you educate kids against drugs? And you know what? I think that's the problem. I don't accept my premise. And maybe that's what I'm missing. Maybe these speakers address that. And maybe that's why I'm struggling. Because people are going to do drugs. So what education do you give them? Be careful. Don't do too many. Because anything you tell someone about a drug doesn't matter, because once they've had the drug, they're not thinking straight. And that's why they took the drug. You know, we've all done this one, haven't we? I'm only going to do 2 tonight. I've got to get up on Monday morning. I don't want to be too fucked. 2 hours later, give us another one. No, it ain't working. Give me another one. No, just give me 2. Same with booze. No, I'm only going to have a couple. You don't need to teach kids about drugs. You need to teach them about themselves. You need to teach them how to love themselves. You need to teach them how to respect themselves. And my experience of state school education was the exact opposite. Apart from a couple of art teachers, almost as stereotypical fucking bleeding arts, who actually made an effort and, I don't know, spoke to a student like they were a human. You know, I'm not sure there's much you can say about individual, like drugs or crime. Don't do it. You got to give people a reason not to. And the only way you're not going to risk your life taking drugs is if you value your life more than the few things drugs actually will and can offer you. They can offer you escape. They can offer you rebellion. They can offer you that up yours to everything you've formerly known in your life. They can offer you socialising. They can offer you friends, peer groups, something to do, a relief from the boredom. They can do all of that in different ways, at different levels, at different times. And our culture shows you that. You know, Jesus, how much money have they spent telling kids not to do drugs? How's that going? You know, a lot of the time you'll hear people say, especially in recovery circles, they'll be like, no one woke up one day and thought, I want to be a heroin addict. These things are progressive. We start on cannabis. But to be honest with you, I sort of did. I was so fascinated by the idea of heroin. I didn't even know what it was. It started when I was about 7. Some film, and there was all these bottles of like diamorphine at the bottom of the sea. And I couldn't work it out, and I asked my dad, and he's kind of explained it, and all I could think of was, it ain't money, it ain't gold, but these people were like, what else could be like gold or money? And then, you know, as I got older, the heroin screws you up adverts for all these like really cool kids on the estate. I talked about it in the video I made about my drug progression a few videos ago. And then obviously all the music, and then just the fucking drama, the level of risk. I mean, everyone will tell you, well, you know, heroin, that's the big one. Not really. I mean, it's got a few aspects that certainly make it a brand leader in certain areas. But alcohol's going to get you more out your head than smack ever can. Because to the point where you're a little bit out your head, you fall asleep. Gone. But alcohol, fuck me, it'll proper black you out while you're still running around the boozer, smashing people over the heads and putting their heads through fruit machines. Lovely drug, alcohol. But you know, that mythology is all added to it. All that needs taking away. Just regulate it. You know, when I was 17, I went on a cycling holiday around Europe. Went through France, Belgium, Holland. Didn't get any further than Holland. That was secretly the real destination. Let's go. You know, to be able to go and sit in coffee shops and smoke Northern Lights and fucking, you know, a proper Afghani number one. Where in England you get a little bag of fucking, look like oregano for 20 quid. I'm in Holland, man, 17. Oh, here we go. And everyone we met who was around our age, you know, youngsters, teens or early 20s, and we met a few because we needed places to stay. We had tents and that, but get chatting to someone, they'll put you up in their house. And lovely, loads of people did. Oh, it was a different time. But everyone our age would get in their house, we'd put all our stuff down and go, right, where's the nearest coffee shop? Let's get some skunking for the night. And every one of them was a bit like, yeah. And it was like, what, don't you smoke? Like, yeah. It was well passé. It was for older people from a different generation sitting around smoking weed all night. And that struck me. You know, I started to feeling embarrassed about it. And it's funny in those Amsterdam coffee shops. I mean, the last time I was out there about 5-6 years ago, very rare to see a Dutch person in those places. Just foreigners with menus going... And then all you hear in every shop, every single shop, you'll hear an Englishman saying to the bloke behind the jump, what's the strongest one you've got? Come on, get a more sophisticated palate together, England. What's the strongest one you got? I just want to get fucked up. and a whole culture has built up around the prohibition of drugs again. You know, my granddad left me a load of original old, I don't even think it's vinyl, it kind of snaps, a Bakelite or something, 78s. And my auntie used to know all what the lyrics meant, and she'd tell me he's talking about smoking weed, this one's talking about cocaine. These are from like the 20s and 30s, right up to the 60s. 60s popular music was a celebration of psychedelia. Essentially, it was a drug culture. As was the 70s, as was the 80s, as was the 90s. And that's all an effect of prohibition. Not only the culture, but the strength of things. You know, you don't get highly advanced hybrid skunks without prohibition. People would be all right with a little bit of original Acapulco Gold. Nice 2.5% THC. A proper granddad smoke. I'm not sure about it. That's what I think you've got to do. In summary, because I have predictably diverted, to educate kids against damaging themselves with drug use, to start off, you've got to make them value themselves. Secondly, lose all the prohibition and then the drama and then the remains of glamour from the drug world. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I'm stewing with this one. I'm going to do some more research and then I might change my mind. Maybe you can change it for me. Cheers.
Thanks for watching.
Now we're going to ask the Raiders to help us do the next two.